From baggage claim to pajamas in 10 minutes. Erie International Airport. Fly with ERI.com.
Fly Erie International Airport to Charlotte on American Airlines, your nonstop gateway to the world. Also, we have Breeze Airways flying nonstop to Orlando and Tampa, Florida. A great low-cost carrier providing excellent service to the regional community. Fly Erie International for your travel needs.
Fly with ERI.com.
All year round, Frontier Home Products and Design has what you need to make your home comfortable and beautiful. Relax on a new timber tech deck designed by Frontier's experts. A new fireplace from Frontier Home Products Fireplace Gallery adds warmth and serenity to any home. Beauty and versatility at Frontier Home Products and Design Center, 4213 Peachtree, 5th next to the Bayfront Highway.
Frontier Home Products and Design Center. Discover a new frontier.
PA contractor number PA039007.
Welcome to TalkErie.com's Joel Natale Show, Erie, Pennsylvania's daily podcast. Every day, we tackle the biggest issues that the Erie, PA region faces. Stay informed and involved as we advance the narrative of Erie. Now, here's Joel Natale.
We want to welcome to our studio for the first time Brian Durniok. He is the president of UPMC Hamot. Brian, welcome. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to be here, Joel.
You know, we're a family show. We would like to get origin stories. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school and so on?
Sure. Native of Western Pennsylvania. Grew up in a tiny little town called Jamestown, Pennsylvania, down by Pymatoonie
The
Lake.
Muskies!
Down by Pymatoonie Lake.
Yes.
And my parents were...
Did you play ball?
I did play ball. And my parents were originally from the Pittsburgh area, and during the 40s, when my dad was a kid, his father bought a little piece of land up by the lake, and they would come up on the weekends, and they built a little cottage, and then eventually, years later, my parents relocated to the area. I went to Teal College in Greenville. And then after Teal College, I worked for a manufacturing company called Werner Company and make ladders. So
100%. Know that? Wow.
So I worked for them about 10 years.
Wow.
And worked in a variety of jobs from operations to human resources. And I was in human resources when I made the jump from manufacturing over to healthcare.
Yeah. Wow.
And so I kind of transitioned to healthcare ever since then.
Was Werner's a union shop?
It was. They had 3 unions.
Did they really?
Yeah.
So that's
it
a
was a
interesting.
good experience.
Yeah, good experience for sure. I got to talk about the Muskies just a second
Okay.
because if you remember that gym back now, my reference point is late 70s, right? And I don't know if they've upgraded the gym, but it was like the hottest place to play basketball. I think probably in Western Pennsylvania because the crowd was basically right on top of you as a you know.
Yeah.
And we would bring. I went to Mercier's Prep in the late 70s, and we would bring our teams down to play Jamestown, and it was always the big.
It was a good
grudge
rivalry.
match. It was a really good rivalry. Yes, back in the day.
I played on those teams at that time, and they eventually built a new gym.
Did they go ahead and do that?
Yeah.
But what do they call it? The French Creek Valley League or something like that. So.
Upper Allegheny Valley.
Upper Allegheny Valley. Oh my gosh, yeah, we're dating ourselves.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that is exciting. So, did you jump right into UPMC, into healthcare?
Well, like I said, I worked at Werner's for 10, 11 years, and then I went to work for what was then an independent hospital, which was the Horizon Hospital System. It was a merger of the former Greenville Hospital and Shenango Valley Osteopathic, and they made a hospital called Horizon. And so I worked for them for a while, and then they eventually merged into UPMC officially, I think, in 2003. So
yes.
I've been part of the UPMC family here for a
Wow.
long time now.
20 plus years now. That's really how this industry has gone, right? Is that it's difficult to stay small, I would think.
It is. It's getting harder. The costs structure in healthcare continues to go up, and if you look at it, inflation. We all know about inflation right now. It's been substantial the last couple of years. Government reimbursement does not keep pace with the inflationary costs. So our vendors need more for the products and services they deliver. Our employees want wages and benefits. We have to give them increases. And so, the cost of equipment is just, there's nothing that's inexpensive in a hospital. We use the rough number of about $1,200 a square foot when we do renovations. Because of the different safety codes we have to.
When you
keep up
consider
with.
like a Class A office building would be like 300 or 350 a square foot, and this is 1,200 a square foot.
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's very, very expensive to do any construction in healthcare. So, with all of those things in mind, and the equipment wears out fast because it's being used 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a challenge for an independent hospital to keep pace with all the demands.
And then, so that's the physical plant part of it. Then there's the human resources part of it. And I want to ask you kind of like a 30,000-foot question. Does a place like Western PA have a harder time recruiting qualified workers than, let's say, a go-go community like a Nashville or Charlotte or Atlanta, some of those Mid-South types of regions?
Well, I think it would depend on what you're recruiting. I would think maybe there's an advantage for physician recruiting in
the South,
and maybe in some of these areas. But I think from an employee perspective, we've been able to do well with our recruiting. Most of our staff probably live within a 15-20 minute radius of the organization. So the bulk of our staff are homegrown. Physicians, a different thing. I mean, they'll train all over the United States. They're highly coveted. And they can sit down and take a look and say, what fits my life? What am I looking for? How much call am I going to take? How many days am I going to be in the operating room, and so on and so forth. So, they really have the opportunity to find what's a good match for them.
When you talk about like different specialties and things, it always was the case, especially in more rural areas, that primary care, we need more primary care. We need more primary care. But in our neck of the woods, there's probably some pillars where, we could use some more physicians, let's say in OB or in dermatology, I mean, and you think about, what is it? Skin cancer is like the number one cancer? Or?
Skin cancer is very prevalent.
Yeah,
it's out there. And, some of these subspecialties, there are just not a lot of people graduating from residencies on an annual basis. The competition is really, really keen.
For the hospitals.
Yeah, for the hospitals who are out there trying to recruit these individuals that come to their communities. And, it's one of the things that we are always looking at, really long-term. We're looking at our succession planning years ahead because we just know in some cases some of these specialties may take us 2, 3, 4 years to find the right person to come to the organization.
Well, that's really amazing. Are there other areas though where physicians are really kind of gravitating to? It makes me wonder if the tech part of this, you can use, what do they call that robot? Da Vinci or
the
whatever.
Da Vinci robot.
I mean, anybody who's excels on that could probably do pretty well.
Well, absolutely. Tech is certainly becoming a huge part of our business. You're seeing it from robotic surgery, whether it's general surgery, thoracic surgery, GYN surgery. Orthopedics is doing a lot of robotic surgery now, and most of your surgical candidates are coming out of programs where they're trained on robotics. That's what they're going to look for, an organization where they can go and learn how to and use their skill set.
So again, an organization like yours has to make sure you're always investing in tech, right? I mean,
absolutely. You've got the big institutions where the residents are training. The UPMCs, the Cleveland clinics. They're using the latest and greatest, and when these people graduate from their programs, they want to use those skills, and I understand it. We have great outcomes with that equipment.
Yeah, I guess it really helps on being more exact. Less faults or less things to clean up if there's a problem.
The incisions are smaller. The physicians will tell us that the recovery is quicker, and they're more precise. So they really enjoy using the equipment. They think it's the best way to go.
Yeah, I mean, over the course of these 20 years that you've been with the UPMC, have you seen a significant? I mean, are we in like a fast bell curve, or is it just a steady climb of the use of tech and just changes in just that kind of thing?
The change is constant.
Yeah,
and it's rapid. And beyond the technology change that we're seeing right now with robotics and those type of things, the other big thing that we're really just at the beginning of is artificial intelligence and what that's going to mean in healthcare. And we're already using artificial intelligence in a couple different applications of the organization. And we're right at the tip of the iceberg, but more to come on that.
Okay. Can I go on a rabbit trail here? So,
Sure.
how would I guess I think maybe diagnoses? Are
Sure.
we talking about, can an AI look at a film?
I know that is being developed right now. It's not in wide application, but I think an area where you're going to see AI down the road is probably assisting with the overreads of radiology imaging.
Wow.
And looking at things like that, and probably doing algorithms when it looks at a patient's total different information related to their vital signs and diagnoses.
Yeah, everything that's presenting.
And helping to say, maybe here's a course of treatment recommendation. So lots of companies are exploring it.
Yeah.
And, we're using it a little bit right now with some of our physicians just to assist them with their documentation, where you can literally lay your iPhone down on the table, and as they can just dictate, and it translates it right from their iPhone right into the medical record.
Nice.
It saves them the time of having to do the typing, and it's accurate. And so I think it's going to be something that's going to make a real difference.
I was thinking that there's probably some definite back office types of things that AI could really help with,
Absolutely.
just medical records type of stuff.
Well, yeah, exactly. I think that's going to be a big plus for everybody down the road.
But yeah, I guess here's this patient presenting. Here are the vitals. Here's his family history. Here's
here's all the information.
What are the possibilities here? And then the human says, okay, let me try this.
AI is not going to replace the physician, the nurse, or any like that, but it will be another tool in their tool bag.
The importance of meds and eds in our community comes to bear here on the Joel Natale Show as we talk to Brian Durniok. He is the president of UPMC Hamot. Let's go there for a second there, Brian. You love Erie. I mean, you're really getting to settle in here. The importance of your healthcare institution in this town, as an employer, as a quality of life thing, can't really be overstated, can it?
Well, it can't. And when I look at it, first of all, I take great pride in working for such a special institution with so many devoted physicians and staff who really are just unparalleled in what they can do. And the things they do every day amaze me. So, when I look at it, we make a major economic impact to Erie, and that's important. Obviously, we have roughly 4,000 people that through our physician offices or hospital that we are directly employing, let alone the people who maybe are providing us services and have jobs as a result of the hospital. But more importantly, being a tertiary care center, we look at it that our footprint is roughly 1 million people when you look at our service area where we're bringing patients from. And, over a third of our patients now are coming from outside of Erie County for specialty care. And so we're offering something between Pittsburgh and Buffalo and Cleveland that's saving people from having to drive 100 miles, 120 miles, and getting world-class care here locally. And so I'm very proud of the fact that we're making a difference in so many lives.
Yeah. Not only is it the downtown footprint, but it is locations throughout even Erie County. What we're talking about, like imaging, we're talking about diagnostics. What are some of the things that you have, let's say at Sterling Square or what have you?
Oh, yeah. So, we have everything from imaging. You have lab draws. You have physicians in those spaces. We have, urgent care centers. Mm-hmm. We have, the different physician offices in Erie. Down on the Bayfront, UPMC has a call center that's here in Erie. We have the Hillman Cancer Center over on the west side. So lots of different locations that offer different services that are throughout the Erie region. And it's important that you make care accessible where people need it.
I think it's important to understand, though, that the pipeline of physicians, especially specialists, is real between Pittsburgh and Erie. There are many physicians that are based in Pittsburgh that do a day a week or every other week here. Can you explain how that works?
Well, sure. A great example of it is our partnership with Children's.
Okay.
And so we have really, over the last year and a half, worked diligently to expand the number of providers that Children's is bringing to Erie to take care of our kids. And in fact, it's grown to the point that Children's is now going to expand to a bigger location here in Erie. Wow. And we have over 20 different specialties that are now coming to Erie on a regular basis to see kids. We have specialists, for instance, in McGee Women's Health, who are coming up here and seeing our patients as well. And so there's just a host of different specialists, and that's the power of being part of a big system like that. Is having access to that expertise and having the availability to come to us. What I've found over the years is when you make care accessible, people will follow up with their care. If it's too much of a challenge and you have an elderly patient who is intimidated and thinking, boy, I have to drive to Pittsburgh, I have to drive to Cleveland, they may not get the care they need. So having that access local is truly important. Well,
and also the idea that, let's face it, let's go back to oncology, skin cancer, right? Melanoma. If you've got a doc in Pittsburgh that sees, 100 melanoma cases a week, I mean, that's kind of you want him to kind of see your case, even though he comes up to Erie every other week or something like that.
Well, there is an advantage to that. And when you're part of a big system, has a women's hospital, a children's hospital, a behavioral health hospital, quaternary hospital in UPMC Presby that is one of the leading transplant centers in the country. There are occasions where it makes sense that we want to leverage those skills here locally.
Sure.
Our transplant program is a great example of that. It started out as a part-time program, and we were having a physician come up and doing transplants, and as the program has continued to get busier, we recently were able to recruit a fellowship-trained transplant surgeon who came out of the Presbyterian program, who landed in Erie in November, and literally within, I think, 12 hours of him being here, did his first case. And so, that's really the other part of that is it helps jumpstart these programs, and as the programs get traction, then build it into a full-fledged program.
I'm not sure we knew that we were doing transplants in Erie.
Yeah, we're doing kidney transplants.
Wow.
Yeah. So we recently hired Dr. Darman, and he had graduated from the Presby Fellowship Program, had been practicing outside of London in a transplant program, wanted to come back to the United States and UPMC, and we're proud and thrilled to have him here.
Amazing. The I wanted to ask you about McGee Women's Health. At one point, we were establishing some kind of research there. Can you give us an update on that?
Continues to do well. The McGee Women's Research Institute and our partnership with over at Barron is doing well. We've literally had hundreds of women in clinical trials that we're doing here locally.
Is it all on cancer base, basically, or
a variety of different things?
Okay.
But oncology is one of them for sure. And but again, being part of that McGee program and being able to participate in some of these programs, bringing some of those cutting edge treatments to women in the Erie region is fantastic. It's helping us in conjunction with McGee come up with strategies and techniques that will advance the women's health, and we are thrilled to be part of it.
Yeah, there's something particular about Erie, and we're concerned about some of the environmental effects that Erie women have gone through over the decades, really. And so having this kind of watchdog of the trends is super important for that research, I would imagine.
Well, absolutely. And the more people you can get into a trial, the better the information is. The more the quicker you're going to come up with different solutions to things. And we have great doctors here. Barron has been a great partner with us on this endeavor. And at the end of the day, we feel like we're making a difference.
Get paid to drive. Start a new career behind the wheel at the EMTA. If you are looking for a high-paying and rewarding career with full benefits and paid training, stop by or apply online today with the EMTA. Plus, EMTA riders can now enjoy free Wi-Fi on new, clean, and environmentally friendly buses to travel all over Erie County. Visit ridethee.com for more information.
Get on board EMTA. Get on board EMTA. Get
Quickfill gasoline is made right here in America. United Refining Company, who operates Quickfill, refines its gasoline from North American crude oil in Warren, Pennsylvania. When you buy United Refining Company gasoline at Quickfill, you keep jobs and businesses in America. And you keep American families strong. You don't need to send your money overseas when you buy gasoline. Buy American-made gasoline at Quickfill. Quickfill, driving America.
Brian, let's get right back to it. We did get a question about nurse-patient ratios at Hamot. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, sure. Our nurse-patient ratios have really returned to normal. During the pandemic, at the height of the pandemic, when literally every hospital was full and then some, ratios were higher than normal. What's really helped us out was two things. UPMC actually started a nursing float pool.
What does that mean?
So they hired nurses and they paid them a little bit higher rate, but the understanding was you were going to go work where there was a need.
So within the UPMC footprint along Western PA, they could go anywhere. They could go to Harrisburg, they can go to Pittsburgh,
Correct.
Go to Erie. Okay, gotcha.
And so, they hired them at a little bit of a premium, which was attractive, and so we were able to capitalize on that. And then I think about 3 years ago, Hamot started the UPMC Jameson Hamot School of Nursing, and we have been graduating classes ever since. We just had our most recent graduation December, and just shy of 60 kids graduated from that.
Wow.
So for the year, we've added close to, or in 2024, I think we added up a net 90, around 90 nurses to our workforce. And so, with that, and our turnover actually is exceptionally low. So we aren't losing a lot of nurses, and we've gained more nurses, and so it's helped us really get our staffing ratios where we want them to be, depending on the acuity. And every unit's different. So if you're on an ICU unit, for instance, then the ratio of nurses to patients is very low. Right. So you're because the acuity.
Like
so
1 to 2, 1 to 3, maybe.
Yeah, 1 to 2. Yeah, in some cases 1 to 1, depending on the severity of the patient. And then if you get into something what we call an intermediate care unit, which is still a sick person, typically that's going to be 1 to 3, 1 to 4. But so we look at those type of things. But yeah, and during the pandemic, There were times we would have loved to have those things. We just weren't able to make it happen.
Talk about how when you're in the ER and the doc is saying, we're going to admit you. What's that workflow? I think there's a lot of misunderstanding from the general public on how that works.
Well, there's a lot of factors that go into it. Obviously, somebody comes in the emergency room and we work them up and figure out what's going on with the patient. Whether the insurance company deems the patient an admission or an observation, we assign a bed to them, and we get them into a bed. From there, whether you're an observation patient, which is literally that means we're giving you all the care of an admission, but you're still considered in the eyes of an insurance company an outpatient, then we're going to give you all the same care level. Our nurses are taking care of you. Our hospitalists are seeing you. We're cleaning your room. We're feeding you 3 times a day, et cetera, et cetera. You're getting all your treatments, but that illness is not deemed acute enough to be an admission.
Do you have to have a separate location for observations, or it could be a regular room?
Yeah, they're going to be a regular bed in the same patient area as an admission. But it's a combination of many factors. If you're there for a medical reason, for instance, like pneumonia. Our ED doctor is going to call the hospitalist, and the hospitalist who takes care of our medical patients is going to admit you and oversee your care. If you're someone who may be coming in for a specialty reason, you're probably going to be admitted by that service and then probably consulted to some other specialists as well. So it just depends what you're there for. So you could be there as a medicine patient, you could be surgical, whatever it might be.
Does that, I hate to say it this way, but does that ding you guys up when when it's obviously it's care that is an admission, yet you're getting paid for an observation?
Well, the reimbursement is less, certainly, but the other thing is beyond that. It's the impact on the patient, because the patient sometimes gets confused. I've been in your hospital for 2 days. I was admitted, and then they get home. And now they get billed as an outpatient, right? So you get these co-pays that you have to do because I thought I was an admission. You're not an admission. It didn't qualify. Now I'm getting billed because I got these tests.
Right.
And so it's very confusing to our patients.
Yeah, where maybe your card says they'll pay 100% of an admission, but you're paying $200 for the ER visit and all the tests,
an MRI,
yes,
et cetera,
oh my
et cetera.
gosh.
So now you're getting those co-pays it's confusing for them.
That's astounding. Yeah, that's something that we could dig in a little bit more. We said we promised that we would talk about the careers, and I want to start with like the community college and some of the other the regional college. I mean, there's a lot there for entry level healthcare. What a certified nurse's aide and so on. Like,
absolutely. And honestly, so many of our people who are graduating from the UPMC nursing program have started out in an entry level clinical position. We have nursing assistants. We have a job called a PCT, which is a patient care tech. Basically the same thing. They get their foot in the door. They realize, hey, this is my calling. I love taking care of patients. How do I get into this nursing school? They'll work part-time for us. They go to the nursing school, and then 20 months later, they're an RN. But it's not just nursing. Nursing obviously is our single biggest job. We have probably 900 plus nurses in the building out of our 3,000, 2,800 to work there. But things like respiratory therapy, medical lab technicians, physical therapists, occupational therapists, pharmacists, LPNs. People who work in support positions like electricians, plumbers.
Right, sure.
You name it, we're employing it. And
heck, you've got media people in that place.
We absolutely do, and so there's really a vocation for everyone. And one of the things that we're doing is, working with Erie Community College, working with Gannon and the other institutions in the community, because, we want to have a pipeline. Not only for Hamot, it benefits us, but we have other healthcare providers in the community, whether it's our nursing homes, our St. Vincent's and Mill Creek, and EMS providers, you name it. There's a lot of opportunity.
There's no doubt about it. And if you were, again, you made this switch kind of mid-career. If you were advising a parent or grandparent who's got a young person, maybe even still in school, in high school, what would you suggest that they do to investigate these healthcare careers?
I think we are always are willing to bring students in and let them shadow and come in and see the workplace. I think, I think back to myself when I was in, 9th, 10th, 11th grade. My worldview was pretty small. And I honestly thought I was going to be a history teacher because, who was I exposed to? School teachers and some other things like that. Had no idea my career would go this direction. But I think, when you ask people who work at hospitals, you ask a kid, they say doctors and nurses. But there's a lot of other vocations. If you like technology, the imaging field, right? You're working with MRIs and CTs and, equipment like that. Biomedicine, which is the people who repair the equipment. So I would say, hey, come over, contact the hospital, contact your guidance counselor. We occasionally will invite schools to bring classes in, come in and see what they do. We'll have you meet with our professionals. We think there's a lot of opportunity here locally. The wages are competitive. And, I think we know we need health care in the Erie community for the foreseeable future. I think it's something that it's a great job. It's a hard job. It's a challenging job. It's a rewarding job.
Are there places for entrepreneurship as a service provider for a large organization like yours? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it means, coders or, software engineers or other things. I mean, I'm just wondering where the place of the entrepreneurial ecosystem, is a net benefit to like a UPMC.
Well, we work with a lot of different small businesses and do everything from buying food services to housekeeping services to
event planning, I would imagine.
Event planning, snow removal.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, things that you groundskeeping. We work with a lot of external businesses to provide those type of services because they're a lot better at it than we are. That's not in our wheelhouse, so we rely on them to do those things for us. When we do certain events, we'll have audio-visual people come in and help us get the things set up. So sure, we work with a lot of different vendors.
Brian Durniok is our guest here, UPMC Hamot CEO. Talk about 2025. What are you looking forward to? What might be some construction projects around the campus and so on?
We just did we're finishing a refresh of our emergency room. Really just flooring, painting, just lighting, just so it looks better. It's nicer, aesthetically better. Probably the single biggest thing that's going to come is in the fall, we will be switching to a new electronic health record. And so we will be adopting Epic, which is the most widely used electronic health record in the United States. Right now, we use around 7 or 8 different electronic health records. We use one called Cerner, is our main one in the hospital. We use Epic in our physician offices and a few other small ones in a couple other departments. This will allow us to have a single platform across the entire UPMC, our network.
Wow.
And so what an advantage for everyone. Seamless, quick information. And, sometimes when
Is that a big hardware purchase behind that, too?
It's going to be a major endeavor for UPMC. It's going to be a large investment. We are in the first wave of change, and so UPMC is not ambitious enough to try to do all 42 hospitals at once. So we're probably going to do roughly, a half or 40% in this year, and then the balance.
Now, would they normally get that started in one of the outlying hospitals and see it troubleshoot through before they go to Pittsburgh or whatever?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I will take this as a compliment. I think they've always seen Hamot as an institution that embraces change, and will figure it out. There's a hardiness to this.
So you guys are first.
We're right up at the head of the class. But there's a hardiness to Erie and the people who live here, and they reached out to us. Leslie Davis, who's the CEO, posted on our internal social media page after we had our Snowmageddon earlier the year how impressed she was with the fact that people just continue to do their job despite all those challenges. And so, we know it's always change, and change is never easy, but we know this team will roll their sleeves up and make it work.
Did you roll the Hummers to pick up the docs and
nurses? You know what? We during that first weekend, we had over 70 people who literally just stayed in the hospital and slept and stayed there. And we picked people up. We had an example of a nurse who wasn't even scheduled to work, and she walked in covered in snow, walked I don't know how far with a backpack on her back, and showed up and said, "I'll work as long as you need me to." I mean, these were the kind of things that were, the commitment from that staff. Yeah,
incredible. Well, this sounds like an exciting new year for UPMC, and certainly the idea that we've got to these are our major employers, our meds and eds. This is the I always call it it's the huge three-legged stool. We've got the manufacturing, but meds and eds is another stool leg, and we've got to make sure that we have the workforce, and it's a skilled workforce.
Absolutely. Erie is a gem. I think, I look at the talent here. We have great universities. We have great schools, high schools. We have a good manufacturing base. We have a committed group of people. And, we want to keep investing in what we have here. I think, what's happening on this side of town with the redevelopment is exciting. And, UPMC this year, they have never historically taken their corporate board on outside of Pittsburgh for their board meetings. And they decided this year they wanted to go out and see hospitals, and Hamot was the first one they picked to come and spend time at. And I think it's just a compliment of what they're seeing going on in Erie and in the Erie community. And they were really impressed with what they saw.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I appreciate you taking the time. Hope that we could have frequent conversations as the time goes here. I guess, this time of year, winter weather, and the quadremic or whatever.
I can't keep up with all the things, but we are seeing, the uptick in flu. We're seeing, some uptick in COVID. But honestly, the other part of it is just slips and falls. People getting hurt, with the icy conditions and those type of things. So we've seen a number of people have to come to the hospital, because of the weather conditions. So a little of everything.
Oh, my goodness.
Keeping us busy.
I appreciate you taking the time. Brian Durniok, the CEO, president of UPMC Hamot. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
You've been listening to The Joel Natale Show, Erie, Pennsylvania's daily podcast from TalkErie.com. Subscribe to our show on your favorite podcatcher and get involved by emailing joel@TalkErie.com.